jumped in the race kind of late in the U.S. Senate race. Lemieux's out, so it's pretty much between you and Congressman Connie Mack. According to him, the race is over. He said he didn't have to debate anyone because the race is over and it's him against Nelson. What's your take on that?
Well, you shouldn't count your chickens before they're hatched. I'm picking up steam. The polling numbers show my numbers are growing, and there's a sizable undecided percentage out there. It varies from county to county, anywhere from 30 to 40%. So if I pick up most of the undecideds, he's got a real race. So I don't think he should be going around saying it's over.
Now, what do you think about the fact that there's a lot of Tea Party support? There was a lot of Tea Party support for Lemieux. Do you think you're going to be able to pick that up?
Well, yeah, I already am. I have a lot of Tea Party supporters coming in for me, and pro-lifers and Second Amendment advocates, and just a lot of rank and file people who are upset that there appears to be a coronation or that he is ordained, and they don't like the establishment picking a candidate, and also the fact that he is refusing to debate me. A lot of people, he canceled debates, he pulled out of debates. A lot of people find that very objectionable. They want to decide on primary day who the next U.S. Senate candidate will be running against Bill Nelson. They don't want it basically being forced on them or shoved down their throats.
Now, the money situation, I'm not too clear what he has, what he's raised, but he has a considerable name identification around the state and around the country. As far as money, do you think you can counter him? Do you need to counter him dollar for dollar?
No, I can't counter him dollar for dollar, and I knew that when I got in, with his father's connections. And it's interesting, as I call around the state trying to raise money, a lot of people say to me, his father called me, but they never say he called me. But he's outraised me, he's got the name ID, so this is very much an uphill battle. I'm doing very, very well north of I-4 corridor. There's a lot of social conservatives that are not comfortable with his position on embryonic stem cells and his lack of leadership on just the pro-family agenda in its entirety. Then another thing that has people very upset is he missed the critical vote on banning sex selection abortions, and so they want an alternative to Connie Mack, and Dave Weldon is that alternative.
Has there been any recent polling? You said there was some polling that shows that you're gaining in the polls on him, and he's running pretty much a stealth campaign because, again, back to what he said,
he's running no campaign. He's making very few personal appearances. He's not doing any TV. He's not doing any radio. He is saving his money for the race against Bill Nelson. And so this is part of the reason why I feel I can close the gap in the next 3 weeks and overtake him, because he's not really being very active. He thinks it's over, and I don't think it's over.
Now, why should Republican voters, the base if you would, vote for Dave Weldon?
Well, I was in the House for 14 years. While I was in that House, I accumulated a track record of working very, very hard and getting some things done, and actually passing legislation that I originated and I drafted and I put into action. A great example is the Hyde-Weldon Conscience Clause protections that I put into legislation that protects doctors and nurses from having to be forced to participate in abortion procedures by regulators or hospital administrators if they find it objectionable. Also, there's a ban on patenting human embryos. It's called the Weldon ban. And then the legislation to get mercury out of childhood vaccines was mine. So I did a lot of things. I was very active in the pro-life caucus. I was fighting for these things. And if you look at my record compared to his, it's a record of action. It's a record of getting things done. The really critical thing for Republicans in this primary is who do they want running against Bill Nelson? Do they want a veteran? I'm a veteran. Do they want a physician? I'm a physician. Do they want a career politician or somebody who term limited themselves and actually left Congress voluntarily? I left. I'm not a career politician. I think I'm the better candidate to go against career politician Bill Nelson.
Now, what about the whole issue with the Tarp? You voted for Tarp the first time. Could that play into? Do you think that's going to hamper you? You did vote for Tarp. That's going to be. That seems the only thing that people are saying that could be a crutch for you.
Yeah, I voted for Tarp. Certainly, what Obama did with the Tarp money caused me to regret that vote. And if I had known Obama was going to win and he was going to do those things, I would have voted against it. But we were at a critical crisis at that time in our nation. You know, we had banks that are having trouble covering ATM withdrawals, and there was a real concern that we were going to get runs on banks. And it was being requested of me by the Obama administration. And you know, Paul Ryan, who's a champion with Tea Party people today, he's the one who convinced me to vote for that. And so, at the time, I thought it was the right vote. Clearly, now, you know, a lot of people have convinced me it was a bad vote, and I have to agree with them.